Hello, how's it going? So today I wanted to start a new kind of series and go through each team in the NBA and turn them into a championship contender within 3 years. And the very first team I wanted to do this with is the Philadelphia 76ers, since they're technically the very first team. If we look here, all players, Philadelphia 76ers are the first team in alphabetical order. So we'll go through each team and kind of just see how close we can get them to a championship. And I guess the first thing with this Sixers team is starting off with a Ben Simmons trade. So let's just chuck him straight into the trade finder and kind of see what we can get for him. I mean, I doubt there's going to be too many amazing options in 2K, but we see a few decent ones here. Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield could be a decent shout. John Isaac might be pretty good. I mean, we have to think about Tyrese Maxey. He's probably going to be able to develop into that point guard role. So it's just kind of seeing who would be best fit alongside Joel Embiid. And we see gilgeous-alexander here, and I think this is pretty much a no-brainer. I'm going to accept that straight away. I know I just talked about Tyrese Maxey, but if we can just bring Shai into the team straight away, that makes it immediately better. And this starting lineup already looks about 10 times better, and the spacing on the team is just amazing now. Now, I don't really know what else to do from here. I think the best thing that we can do is just simulate this first season and see how the team actually goes. We can always make other moves during the trade deadline, so there's no big problems there, and I reckon we just wait and kind of see what happens. Alright, so we've arrived at the trade deadline, and as you can see, we are number 1 in the power rankings and number 1 in the conference as well. So I assume we're the best team in the league. If we go ahead and look at the standings, we've got a 42-12 record, and yeah, that's the best record in the entire NBA, which is amazing. It looks like we're going to pretty much outright win the Eastern Conference, which is good. Hopefully we can hold on to that and the Bucks don't kind of dethrone us. But let's see kind of what numbers everyone's putting up, because I feel like that's probably the most important thing. If we go to player stats here, Joel Embiid putting up 26 and 13. He's getting 2.3 blocks a game as well, and his shooting efficiencies are actually really good. He's shooting almost 40% from 3, and Shai is doing the exact same thing, scoring 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists himself. And then Tobias Harris has taken a bit of a step backwards. If we look at him from the previous season, he's not even taken that much of a step back actually. I'm pretty happy with that, and he's shooting a bit more efficiently this season. He's actually in the 50-40-90 club this year, so that's always good, and if he can hold on to that, that just makes him join that elite 50-40-90 club. Other than that, Andre Drummond's putting up amazing numbers. I don't know how many minutes he's getting exactly. He's getting 27 minutes a game, which is probably a bit too much for him, but you know, if he's killing it, we may as well just be playing him. He's averaging a double-double. Like, if he's doing that off the bench, good for him. I think that's pretty good. Now, keep in mind we are playing in a world of no injuries, so you know, that kind of makes things a little bit easier on Joel Embiid. He's not going to be injured. So I had a quick look at the teams who are kind of selling, the teams who are kind of offering certain players, and I didn't really see anyone who stood out too much. I think the best thing we can do is just continue rolling through the season and hopefully finish as the 1 seed. Now we do have to make some contract extensions. I don't know if we're in a position to make any of those, and we aren't. There isn't really anything we can do there, so I'll just get back to you when we get to the end of the regular season. Alright, so we're here at the end of the regular season, and our MVP is none other than Joel Embiid, shooting 50% from the field, 88% from the free throw line, and he's taken a bit of a step back from 3-point range, but he got an MVP award, so that's just amazing. Scotty Barnes gets Rookie of the Year, Andre Drummond with 6th Man of the Year, which gives us 2 awards, Giannis with Defensive Player of the Year, Precious with Most Improved Player of the Year, and Doc Rivers, our coach, gets Coach of the Year. We end up as the number 1 seed and the best team in the entire league at a 64-18 record. And I have no idea who Dylan Shaw is, but congrats to him. Joel Embiid gets his All-NBA first team honors. I doubt Shai's going to be here, but here we are in the playoffs, and yeah, I'm just going to simulate this first round. We do get a gentleman's sweep on the Miami Heat, which is good. We go up against the Atlanta Hawks, who, if you don't know, the Sixers lost to in the previous year in a Game 7. I think everyone remembers Ben Simmons' terrible dunk pass off. And yeah, we completely throw that out the window as we sweep them. We win this final game by 13 points. I mean, gilgeous-alexander came to play. He's taken a bit of a step back in the playoffs here, but he's doing pretty good other than that. Next series is against the Chicago Bulls. I mean, it doesn't look like they've made any changes. Let's see kind of what happens in this series. And if we just simulate, we get another gentleman's sweep. Let's see how this final game went. We blow them out by 20 points. Tobias Harris with a 30 bomb. That's what you like to see. I mean, DeMar DeRozan had 38 in this one, but that wasn't enough, obviously. And now we're into the final series, going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. They haven't changed much either. I guess Zion Williamson has just been an absolute unit through the playoffs. So let's just simulate the round and we sweep them. So we win in this very first year. Let's just kind of see if we can build on that and win each championship in each year. So heading into the off season, I don't think we're going to have anyone retiring. We're going to reject all of these league meetings and head into the draft lottery. So I don't think we have any picks whatsoever. I don't even think we have our own pick. We do have our own pick, but it's the 30th pick, so it's going to be pretty useless. Staff signing isn't going to be too interesting either. I might just throw some contracts out to a few coaches just to kind of fill out the team. We are using the draft class from the 2022 NBA draft class, so we're going to have like Chet Holmgren and all of his buddies. So I guess in this first year, we're going to see who the Charlotte Hornets end up picking, because they ended up with that first pick and they pick Paolo. The Cavs pick Chet Holmgren, which means they add their 5th 7-footer to the team. I mean, if it works, it works. They're obviously the second pick, so they weren't a good team, but you know, we'll see how that kind of plays out. And we're just going to jump to our pick at this point. There's not really anything interesting going on. And is there anyone we can really pick? Trevor Keels. He projects to be a bit like JJ Redick, which could be a good look for our team. He's from Duke as well, which is exactly where JJ Redick went, so that could be a good pick. We also have Dyson Daniels here. I think I'm going to go for this Trevor Keels guy. We don't really have too much to lose by coming off a championship. So yeah, there's no big deal there. So I'm just going to see, is there anything available for this pick? If we can just offload it for a few picks later on. And we'll just take a second from the Bulls next year, and they can go ahead and just have fun with that pick. So here's what the draft ended up looking like throughout the lottery. Nothing too interesting really. We did end up picking Trevor Keels, who ended up being a 72 overall. So we'll see if we can develop him, maybe send him to the G League and he can do something interesting. Here we've got a few player options to take care of. Isaiah Joe and Charles Bassey. I think we'll keep Charles Bassey on the team just as a young guy who we can continue to develop. And Paul Reed and Shake Milton, I'm happy accepting both of them. So we'll bring them back onto the team. Now we head into free agency. We'll just get rid of Grant Riller. He's turned absolutely awful. Now we don't really have any money heading into free agency. We've got about $8 million. We've got the mid-level exception. So we might try and find someone to kind of use that on. Alright, now we can't afford to bring Andre Drummond back, which is a bit of a bummer. But we'll just kind of let him go off to whatever team he gets paid by. I mean, we don't have much money freed up at all actually. If we go into the trade finder, I mean, our 3 big guys are taking pretty much all of the cap space. Tobias Harris making more than Joel Embiid is a bit annoying. And I mean, we can kind of scout and look for deals for Tobias Harris, but I doubt we're going to get anything too crazy. Bam Adebayo, I kind of want someone who can space the floor, who's equally as good, if not better than Tobias Harris, and I just don't really see anything. Alright, so we signed Jeremy Lamb on a 1-year $4 million deal. I feel like he can be a really good starting 4, so we'll just kind of see how he fits into the lineup in a moment. And then for centers, I mean, our only real option is DeMarcus Cousins, so I guess we'll bring him in and I guess we can give him a deal. I'm going to take that back actually, we don't want him for 2 years, we'll just kind of put him on a 1-year deal and see how he kind of plays out before we offer him like that longevity. But other than that, yeah, we're just going to skip through the rest of free agency. So our team doesn't look the best. I mean, this is what we're running with right now. So we got Shea starting at point guard, Seth Curry at shooting guard, Jeremy Lamb at small forward, Tobias Harris at power forward, Joel Embiid at center. Then we got Tyrese Maxey coming off the bench, Matisse Thybulle also coming off the bench. Then we got Furkan Korkmaz and Shake Milton. And then Georges Niang is also here, but you know, he's not going to be getting any minutes. I take that back. We'll change it up to a 10-man rotation. Like I said, I want Jeremy Lamb to start. I think he'll be better in that starting role, just since he can shoot a bit better. And I mean, the spacing on this team is amazing. We can shoot the lights out, really, if you think about it. Coming off the bench, it doesn't get too much better, but DeMarcus Cousins, he might come in later in the season and get some minutes, but he'll just kind of bench warm for now. The only other changes I'll make before the start of the new season is putting Charles Bassey in the G League along with Trevor, our new rookie, and we'll just kind of see if those guys get better. Jaden Springer might be able to get better eventually too, but it is what it is. And we're just going to simulate up until the trade deadline, see how the team's tracking. We might be in the position to make a big trade again, but we'll see. Alright, so nothing interesting really happened throughout the whole regular season, and we were pretty average sitting at the 2 seed around the trade deadline. So I just decided to jump to the end of the season. Luka Doncic is your MVP. Jaden Hardy, who's also on the Mavericks, is the Rookie of the Year. Pascal Siakam is the 6th Man of the Year, playing in New York now. Giannis is the Defensive Player of the Year, and Jonathan Kuminga is the Most Improved Player of the Year. And then Nate McMillan is the Coach of the Year. We did fall back a tiny bit this year. Joel Embiid's still on the All-NBA first team. If we go look at our player stats for the year, we do see Joel Embiid still putting up amazing numbers, 26 and 14 with 2.4 blocks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 23 points, 5 rebounds and 6.5 assists. That's also pretty good for his standards. And then we got Tobias Harris, who did take a bit of a step back, only getting 15 points, 7 rebounds a game. It might be an opportunity for us to move him in the offseason and just try and go all out for like a superstar or something. We might even be able to package Tyrese Maxey, but we'll kind of see how we go. Our rotation did kind of change up a little bit throughout the season. We originally did have Tyrese Maxey starting at shooting guard, but it looks like he's kind of fallen back out of the rotation now. Seth Curry's hot, so he's jumped back in as a starting shooting guard. Anyways, let's just see how we kind of go. So here's what the playoff seeding looks like. We're just going to simulate this first round. And we are down. We're heading into a game 6. We're going to simcast this one and just see what happens. And hopefully we can win, fingers crossed. I mean, we don't want to lose to the Bucks. In my other Raptors series, this is exactly what happened and we lost. And it looks like we are going to come away here. We do win that game. Let's kind of see how that kind of played out. We win by 3. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 31. Joel Embiid with 25 and 15. Decent game for the guys. Furkan Korkmaz also stepped up with 21 points of his own. Now heading into a game 7. Let's see what's going to happen. And we take an early lead in the first quarter. The Bucks kind of come back in and win that second. However, we win the third almost. And it looks like we pull away in the fourth quarter. And there we go. Joel Embiid with 31 and 18. Chris Middleton with 20. Giannis with only 16. I guess he wasn't just taking enough shots. Malik Monk's on the Bucks now, which is interesting. And that puts us in a second round against the Boston Celtics, who have Patty Mills starting at point guard. Then they got Grant Williams and Robert Williams at power forward and center. And then they've got the 2 J's, obviously. We'll simulate game by game, see kind of what happens. And it looks like we lose the first 2 games. We win the third. We lose the fourth, and we're going to go into a simcast, and fingers crossed we can pull together and win in this one. Otherwise, we're going to be heading into the off-season, and we'll probably need to make some big moves. Looks like this one is really close, but we do end up winning this. Joel Embiid with 33 and 22 rebounds. Absolute monster game from him. Jason Tatum dropped 50 in this one, but that obviously wasn't enough. I just realized we've been playing with a 10-man rotation for the entire playoffs. So we're going to drop that down to an 8-man. And it looks like Jaden Springer's decided to come in. I don't know what happened to Seth Curry. I have no idea why he's not starting anymore, but we're just going to go with Coach Doc Rivers' advice and let Jaden Springer start at shooting guard, and hopefully we win this one and force a game 7. I mean, fingers crossed. The Celtics have gotten off to an amazing start, but we aren't far behind at all. And we're only down by a few points here, and no one scores at the end of the game. And it looks like we head into the off-season. Joel Embiid with 37 and 18, but that wasn't enough. Jaylen Brown was the one who decided to step up this time and dropped 47 himself. So it is what it is. We'll simulate the rest, and the Jazz end up winning the championship, with Donovan Mitchell being your finals MVP. Good for them. We need to win this final year, and I'm not going to put any brakes on moves we make in the off-season. We're just going to go all out, honestly. So heading into rookie signings, we had a bunch of second rounders that we probably could have moved but we aren't going to accept any of these guys. I don't think they really fit in with what we're trying to do as on the team. We're going to accept all of our team options for these young guys. I think they can continue to develop eventually, and we can probably use a few as trade pieces, as has been the problem in last season as well. We don't exactly have any cap space to go after any big free agents, and I guess that's one of the big downsides of having so much money tied up to Joel Embiid, tied up to Tobias Harris. And I think I want to try and move Tobias Harris. I don't know who I can really package him with. We can try Charles Bassey and see kind of what offers that pulls together. Evan Mobley could be an interesting one, but I don't really want to go down that route. I was hoping to kind of get a Ford and see if any are available. It doesn't look like we've been offered any as of yet. So our first move of the offseason is going to be bringing Shake Milton back on a 3-year, $20 million contract. I feel like he's just kind of become a staple in the rotation, so it'd be a bit of a shame to lose him. Same kind of deal with Matisse Thybulle. We're going to give him a $5 million, around $6 million contract with 3 years on the deal, and he's probably going to accept that. We'll just skip forward a few days, and he does. Now, if we kind of look at our team from there, it doesn't look the best right now. We have Shea, Tyrese Maxey, and Shake Milton. We might actually move Shake Milton over to the shooting guard, where he will be able to kind of fill in a bit of a better role. Small forward is a big weakness, and one player who I've been thinking about trying to pick up is Brandon Ingram, who's still under contract with the Pelicans. So we might just chuck him in the trade finder for Tobias Harris, and I feel like this is a deal that we could maybe get done if we just kind of load them up with picks and little sweeteners here and there. So if we just give them all of our picks available, they won't do that yet. But what happens if we throw in Trevor Keels? Still no. We might try and Charles Bassey. Nope. I don't really want to give up Jaden Springer, but we're going to try it anyway, and they take it. I think that was a win of a trade. We're going to get back to that a bit later though. We do lose Jaden Springer, so we'll need a proper backup shooting guard. And if we go here, a few good options are available. Will Barton, Josh Richardson, who we're going to end up going with, who's going to come back to Philly after that terrible experiment with Al Horford and him a few years ago. We're going to bring him back though, and hopefully he fits in just fine. And other than that, I think we do need a backup center still. And we need a power forward, obviously. And I'm sure there's a few power forwards that we can bring back in. Actually, we're going to bring in Robert Covington this year, and we'll also bring in Georges Niang. We'll bring him back to the team. He was here last season as well, so, you know, we can just keep him on the team. I think him and Robert Covington will do just fine, and we get Paul Reed back on his qualifying offer, so that's just great. We get a few players getting a bit better. Shea and Tyrese still improve a tiny bit. Now we do have Brandon Ingram now, which is going to be an interesting experiment. He'll obviously be a bit more of a scorer, and he'll let Shea kind of develop into a bit more of that playmaking role. And yeah, this is what the starting lineup looks like heading into next season. So we've got Shea, Josh Richardson, Brandon Ingram, Georges Niang, and Joel Embiid. Power forward is a little bit lacking, but I'm not too worried about it. Matisse Thybulle's not actually in the rotation, and I'll open up to a 10-man rotation for the regular season, and we'll kind of see what happens from there. Alright, heading into the trade deadline, we aren't doing the best. We're doing okay. I mean, looking at the standings, we are currently the 4 seed. We're about 6 games behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're 6 wins behind them at least. So not the best, honestly. If we look at the player stats, I mean, we can kind of see what's going on. So Joel Embiid's still kind of putting up the numbers that he's been doing this whole simulation, 23 and 14. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 21, 5 and 7. He's doing a bit more on the playmaking end, and Brandon Ingram's obviously done a bit better scoring than Tobias Harris was, which is always good. That's kind of why we decided to bring him in. But I think our biggest weakness has been the power forward spot. Georges Niang was starting there, but Paul Reed's decided to jump in now. Yeah, I'm not too happy with the team, to be honest, but we're just going to have to deal with it and head into the playoffs, and fingers crossed that we can win a championship in this third and final year. So we actually struggled quite a bit this year. We ended this season as the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. LaMelo Ball was the MVP. Kevin Keeley was the Rookie of the Year. Kobe White was 6th Man of the Year. Giannis was the Defensive Player of the Year for the 3rd year in a row, I think that is. Kira Lewis was the Most Improved Player on the Pelicans, and JB Bickerstaff, I think that's the Cavs coach, correct me if I'm wrong, he was the Coach of the Year. And Brandon Harrison, also from the Cavs, I assume. he was the executive of the year. Now, Joel Embiid, he still had a pretty decent season, took a bit of a step back in terms of scoring, but that's okay. Our team kind of just struggled altogether, it looks like. I mean, I'm interested to see how Brandon Ingram kind of fit in at the end of the year. So he averaged 20, so did Shea. Stats didn't change too much when we looked at them in the mid-season break. Biggest problem was the power forward, which we stepped back a lot in terms of quality, just kind of getting Paul Reed, who's a good basketball player, don't get me wrong, and he had a big step up in production this year, but it would have been good if we had kind of a third star, well, a fourth star to put along these guys, because we already have Shea, we already have Ingram, and I guess they kind of complement Joel Embiid in a way. They can both shoot from the perimeter and create their own shots. I think we have a decent team. We'll do our best. We're playing Detroit in the first round, and it looks like they get up to an early 3-2 lead. We're going to jump in for simcasting this one, and they win the first quarter, they win the second quarter. We come back in the third, and it looks like we're making a fair bit of a run, but we fall back a ton in the fourth quarter, losing by 10 points, and we get eliminated. Cade Cunningham had 46 points in this one. Kemba Walker's decided to join the Detroit Pistons along with Mitchell Robinson, who had 5 blocks, and yeah, we just didn't get it done. So that's kind of wrapping up the 3-year experiment. We'll see who ends up winning it all, and the Hornets do with LaMelo Ball as the finals MVP. I mean, let me know what you guys thought of this. I was a bit disappointed in how the team kind of turned out. I wish I kind of thought of a better way to turn this team around. Anyways, yeah, it wasn't too much interesting that happened throughout the video. We did win in the very first year, and then we just kind of failed in the consecutive 2 years. But it was an interesting experiment. Let me know if you want to see any other videos like this one, because I'm kind of keen to go through each individual team and hopefully just get better at rebuilding on the fly and see what we can end up with. So theoretically, next episode would be with the Milwaukee Bucks, the defending champions. I assume it's going to jump up and down in terms of difficulty, but just building a team around Giannis and trying to fill the team around him the best I can would be an interesting prospect. Anyways, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you later. Bye.